I was burning up. I had to take the coat off. I'm sorry. Thank you, Chris. Now, if you had told me back in May of 1991 that I was going to win a Worcester Honors Award for service to Worcester, I would have said, for what? You know? Thank you to the Alumni Association for this incredible honor. I am humbled to be mentioned in the pillars, with the pillars of Worcester Prep, with such names as Dr. Barry Tall, Dan Freed, Matt O'Hare, Dr. Merle Marsh, Franklin and Paula Lynch, and now Celeste Bunning. I also want to congratulate Whitney and Libby for being honored tonight, well deserved. I especially want to congratulate Celeste for being honored. Being honored with you is particularly special since you were my first grade teacher 34 years ago. And now it's really cool because she gives my daughter a hug and a smile every day, you know. You're certainly well deserving of this award, this honor, and I wish you all the best in your retirement. Worcester has been blessed to have you. I certainly must say that I would not be standing here if it weren't for Matt O'Hare. He gave me the opportunity to coach, and because of that, I have been rewarded with so many blessings. I have developed so many relationships, friendships, and memories that will stay with me for the rest of my life. Thank you, Matt. You're the best. I need to express my gratitude towards my family this evening. I must thank my parents. I honestly thought I would coach for a few years. Who does the sound right? I honestly thought I would just coach for just a few years. But I just couldn't get away from it. My mother and father have fully supported me since day one. They've attended several games every season and have always been involved with not only the program but with the players. They always want to know who's 19, who's, you know, that's Tucker Brown, by the way. You know, they always want to know what's going on. So, Mom and Dad, thank you. Thank you for the sacrifice. Get comfortable because I'm going to be a few minutes. Thank you for the sacrifices. I know early on, sending my sister and I, Wendy and I, to WCS at the time was definitely a sacrifice, but they had made education the #1 priority. I love you both very much. Thank you.
Love you too.
To my wife, Elise, you, like many other spouses in the spring, instantly become a lacrosse widow every February. Countless spring nights coming home late due to traveling to some great distances, or, you know, an occasional staff meeting at King's Pub, or, you know, the Globe, that kind of thing. But you always knew how much I loved coaching lacrosse at Worcester, and I thank you for everything. Coaching at Worcester has been all-encompassing for me. It's been challenging, rewarding, difficult, inspiring, but I think most of all it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. I started in the spring of 1996, and for the first 2 years Joe Mumford was the head coach, but George Zeiser was along the sidelines with me as well. Then George became the head coach, and we really had a good run. It was a lot of fun. By the way, George was my 8th grade lacrosse coach.
Same year, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, what?
Same year, wasn't it?
I have so many memories with George, and here's a few of my favorites. One time we were playing Decatur at home, and one of our players took a shot, and it was clearly a goal. Okay, it was clearly a goal, and the officials just flat out missed it. George took off down the sideline, just took off. I mean, arms up in the air, and he's like, well, basically he wasn't happy. He kept saying it was a terrible call, absolutely terrible. He said it a few more times. The official said, Coach, I don't want to hear that word again. Well, in a split second, the quick-minded George, being George, said, that's horrible. That's an absolutely horrible call. I laughed, the official laughed, and, you know, we moved on. All is well. One of my favorite memories was we were down 6-1 to Stephen Decatur at Decatur. Things clearly weren't going our way. And then suddenly the opposing coach said he saw lightning. So each team had to exit the field, and we went to our bus. George fired up those kids in a way that I can't even explain. I mean, the bus was literally rocking. I mean, he got these guys fired up knowing that we were the better team. Let's go out there and do it. Well, we resumed the game. Final score was 12-6. Worcester scored 11 unanswered goals. Pretty awesome. It was awesome. George, I love the way you rolled the ball out there and just let the kids battle. You taught them to just go get it. It was a privilege being on the sidelines with you. Now, in 2003, Kevin Gates entered Mallard Nation. Now, if you didn't know, Kevin and I crossed paths back in 1994. I was the goalie for the first-year program at Catawba College, and he was the head coach at Shenandoah, where we played into overtime, and I don't remember.
We won.
Yeah, you won. Anyway, I knew you were going to chime in there. I knew. Well, there are countless stories and highlights with Kevin, but here's a few of my most memorable ones. Tied 3-3 to Friends over the bridge, and always going over the bridge is always great, always exciting. And during a timeout, Chris Mancini, Coach Rowe. How am I doing so far? Doing okay? Oh, I'm sweating a little bit. Chris Mancini comes over to the defensive huddle. Okay, it's late in the game, and there might have been a minute left on the clock. And he comes over and says to Richie, our goalie, Richie Barr, great goalie, and he says, "Listen, if you save it, just send it." Their defense is always standing on the midfield line, so Chris would just curl and be like, "I'm going to be standing on top of the box, waiting for it." Well, sure enough, Richie made the save and does a Hail Mary down the field, and there's Chris Mancini like a punt return. He was just waiting for it. He was all alone. And it was just him and the goalie. Ball ends up in the back of the net, and I ran down the sideline. So, I mean, I might have pulled something, but I ran down so hard, and I ended up in front of Dr. Tall with a big old fist bump. Like, are you kidding me? That was unbelievable. Anyway, final score, Worcester Prep won. That was a signature win for the program, certainly beating Friends. Worcester went undefeated that year, and in my opinion, that was one of the strongest senior classes ever at Worcester. That was definitely a memorable year for sure. Now there was the unforgettable substitution, where, and I won't name names, but where a starting defenseman subbed himself out, and I immediately had to make a switch. I said, "Hey, why are you coming out?" He said, "I needed a tissue." I said, "I'm sorry, what?" He said, "I needed a tissue." Kevin comes over. "Hey, what's wrong? Why did he come out of the game?" I said, "Coach, he needed a tissue." He just kind of walked away. Really didn't have an answer. Anyway, moving on. Now, there are not many regional schools that say they can did this next feat. And this team is normally ranked number 1 in the state of Delaware. And sometimes ranked nationally as well. Not only once did Worcester beat Slasiana, but we did it 2 years in a row. Those were huge wins for the programs, folks. I mean, those guys are an army, and we beat them once, and then we beat them 2 years in a row. It was unbelievable. Definitely pinnacle wins. Almost as big as that win in 1990, Chris. Portledge, you were there. Mark was there. Oh yeah, that was big too, for sure. Yes, those are all amazing wins for a little school in Berlin. I must say there are 2 things that I admire most about Kevin that he does for the student athletes at Worcester Prep. First, something he does and does very well is he scouts every team on the schedule, every team. He wants to give his players every advantage possible. The other is if a player wants to play at the next level, he will do whatever it takes to get them to pursue their lacrosse future. But here's why. He knows every college coach. Believe me, every lacrosse convention that we went to, and in between seminars, it's, hey, Kevin, hey, Gator, hey, Gates, what's up? Hey, how you doing? I mean, I'm telling you, he knew everybody. And that just goes to show you a little bit about Kevin. I mean, those are the things. He just does so well. He just does whatever it takes to get those kids in whatever school he wants to, because he just knows everybody. That says a lot about Kevin. Kevin, you're a brother to me. You really are. I'll never forget the overtime wins. Well, you always ended up jumping in my arms, and I just had Kevin's chest like right in my face, and I would just simply walk wherever, and we ended up wherever, but and we had a handful of those. I always enjoyed the changing of the midfield lines mid-first quarter, so I had no clue who was on the first or second midfield anymore. I just said, okay, look, I'll see you at halftime. We'll figure it all out. I always remember the laughs, the cries, but I will never forget the work that you put into this program. And finally, through high school, Worcester was school to me as a student. When I returned as an alumnus, that is when I realized how blessed I was to go to this school. This school was, without question, as good as it gets. Now, starting at the top, Dr. Barry Tall has given his heart and soul to this institution. He will always be humble when given full credit for creating a culture of excellence, but he deserves to be recognized for his passion and commitment to the children of Worcester Country School, or Worcester Preparatory School. No question, he surrounded himself with an amazing team to continue the success of Worcester. There was some kind of survey that's done every 10 years, and I was asked by Dr. Marsh to be a part of this meeting. And a question was asked, where do you see the school in the next 10 years? I chimed in. This school will continue to thrive because it started with such a strong foundation. It will continue to thrive because of the community and the culture that is Worcester Prep. It will continue to thrive because Worcester Prep always allows each student to shine and achieve regardless of whether their strengths lie on a field, on a stage, or in a science lab. I am so blessed to be a Mallard. I'm even more blessed that I have a daughter who, through so many blessings, will have the opportunity to be a Mallard too. Outside of marrying my beautiful bride and the birth of my daughter, Anna Elizabeth, this is one of the most memorable nights of my life. I will always be the self-proclaimed biggest fan of Worcester Prep, both literally and figuratively, both on and off the field. And you know, you beat me to it, but yes, it is a great day to be a Mallard. Thank you, and God bless.